The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, 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 hello. My beautiful voice. Sorry to do that to you guys this early in the morning. What's up? How are you guys doing? Type in the chat if you can see my screen, and if you can hear me, por favor. Eric, what's up? And can you guys see my screen all right? You should see how to not suck at Facebook advertising. What's up, Doug? How you doing, man? Jerry, what up, what up, what up? Okay, cool. You guys know the drill. We'll give it a few minutes for people to trickle in. This is I think this skill is good. Hi, Arlene. How are you? I think the skill is fun to teach and necessary. You know, I think for those of you who are members of some of our other programs or et cetera, we actually don't go into Facebook a whole lot. So I think this will be a good refresher. Plus, I'll throw in a bunch of new stuff with you guys about it. So I'm excited for this skill in particular because I think it's one we can all get better at. How many of you, I have a question. How many of you in here have been with the gene pool from the start? Like 4 or 3 months ago. And sat through the persuasive writing course. Joe has. Joe, what do you think so far? You've been rocking with us for a little bit. Christina, Arlene, all you guys. What do you guys think? Well, I guess if you're here, it must be okay. if we're still hanging out. Cool. Oh, Julia took a shot. She said mostly yes. Cool. This will be fun stuff. Well, thank you, Julia. Eric says, this is going to be in our back office, right? I'm on vacation at my in-laws in Timbuktu. Yeah, man, you're good. We'll load everything in there, so it'll be in there. You know, we also just finished 2 is the live event recordings. So Julia, I know you're out here rocking with us, partying with us. Yeah, we just finished the live recordings, and so I'm trying to figure out the best way to sell them. Obviously, if you came, we'll just send them to you. So yeah, we'll see. Anybody got any questions before we get down? Cool. Good. Awesome. That is good to hear. Cool. Yeah, at 9:05 we'll get started. Anything you guys want to ask me right now about anything? Got 2 minutes. Might as well utilize it before we jump into the Facebook goodness. I don't have my damn harmonica today. Jesus. I'm slacking.
Thankfully.
Shut up, Alex. Thanks, Julia. Why is the sky blue? Wilton, I have no idea, but I am going to something tonight called Cabela. I might have said it wrong, but it's like a horse show. And so like it's supposed to be like Cirque de LA or whatever the hell you say that, but for horses. Has anybody seen that before? I got signed up for it, and I got to go with my girl and her mom. So yeah, I don't know what the hell it is. So if anybody's got tips for me, please let me know. Oh, here's a real question, Dustin. When sending out prospecting videos, do you have any tips on getting past the gatekeepers? Not sure the doctor ever sees any of these videos I'm sending to LinkedIn, contact form, Facebook page, and listed email ID. Yeah, actually, Dustin, I do, man. Call them. Call them, and when you call, and this is going to sound kind of funky, but the best thing that I've seen work is when I call and I just have so much confidence, it feels like they're answering to me type of deal. So if I call the doctor's office, I'll look up his name before, and then I'll say, hey, can I talk to Dr. Doug? And they'll say, yeah, who's calling? I said, hey, this is Billy Jean with the marketing team. Or say, hey, this is Billy Jean, the marketing guy. Can you put him on, please? And almost just kind of brush right past them, man. And then I let them know as soon as I go on the phone, hey, Dr. Doug, thanks for taking the time. I just sent you an email, yesterday or whatever. Did you have a chance to take a look at it? It's like, oh, no, wait, remind me again? Oh, I was the guy who made the prospect, you know what I mean? And then I'll go from there, Dustin. But honestly, it's the call. It's the call and it's the confidence and just kind of literally going past. It's just like if you were to go to a concert. One time I walked on stage with Jimmy Buffett. That was funny. I didn't really know who he was at the time. We just went in college. And We just literally walked past security, and when they looked at us and said, "Hey, where are you going?" I just pointed and just kept walking to the stage. And next thing you know, we're literally on the stage watching him perform until finally, I want to say like 30 minutes passed by, and someone's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing up here?" We're like, "Oh, we're just watching the show." And they kicked us out. Oh, man. That was funny. Kenny Chesney tomorrow night. Julie's going too. That would be fun. Yeah. What's up, Madonna? How are you? I'm a Rams fan. Have season tickets. Nice, Eric. Yeah, I'm a Chargers fan, man, by default. But I also love the Patriots too. A little ironic. All right, let's get into this. We got a lot of you guys here. Everybody else can kind of play catch up. As usual, as we go through, ask questions as you go. Let's rock it. Is anybody new here to the gene pool? I see a lot of regulars. I see some new names too. Let me know if you're here. That way, if you say something weird, I can call you out. Okay, cool. Let me know. Nice to be here. All right, jumping in. So, Billy Jean Gene Pool, how to not suck at Facebook advertising. Couldn't really think of a creative title. I wanted to do something along the lines of like, how to profit with Facebook. I was just like, I don't know, just how to not suck at Facebook advertising, because I feel like, unfortunately, yeah, you're in, John. What's up, buddy? How are you? But I feel like, unfortunately, most people, we just don't make money when we're advertising. So this is how to not suck at it. And I broke it down in 3 easy steps. As always, add me to Snapchat. Mostly you'll just see pictures of the office or videos of the office, or you will see just me and my daughter hanging out. It's really not that exciting, but follow me anyway. Here we go. Recap of last month really quickly. By the way, for those of you who were here last month through the sales training, how freaking helpful was that skill? I was rewatching some of them and just kind of skimming through. Dude, there was some fireballs in there. And if you watch that, there's no way you cannot come out a better salesman. And then when Dan came on and showed how he was making $73,000 a day and gave that breakdown, I hope somebody found that freaking helpful. And if you didn't, after this call, immediately, I would suggest you go back and you watch all of them. Yeah, a couple of people are like, yeah, Dan was great. Cool. Yeah, Dan's the man. And that rhymes. Okay, cool. So we went over how to sell when no one wants to be sold, right? We talked about the new tactics, the demonstration, the follow-up, the setup. We talked about how to sell expensive stuff on the phone, how to turn sales calls into money. And then we brought on Dan, who really went into his whole business model, and he had some really good stuff, some motivational stuff too. Janice says she's going to go back and watch it again. Janice, that's a fantastic idea, right? This week's focus on not suck at Facebook advertising, and I broke it down into 3 easy steps for you. So how Facebook actually works, right? Hashtag CTR, how to use Facebook to find your ideal customers. Hashtag stereotype. If you guys have been rocking with me for a while, my favorite thing to do when it comes to targeting is a stereotype because it works. And then how to turn clicks into customers, right? So we broke it down into 3 even easier steps of that. Whenever you're creating a Facebook ads campaign, it's always the same process. I don't care if you're selling a product. I don't care if you're doing lead generation. I don't care if you have a webinar, whatever the hell it is. It's always the same shit. Step 1 is identify the objective. Step 2 is define your ideal customer. And step 3 is to make an offer that people actually give a shit about, period. And if your offer is not exciting, you can't compete online. It's that simple. All right? So we got a lot of fun exercises in this one. Quick question. Everyone here, when you guys first start a Facebook ads campaign, what's the first thing that you do? When you first start a Facebook ads campaign, what's the first thing you do? Anyone who gets this right, $100, PayPal, let's get it. Let's get warmed up here. Let's kick the energy up a notch. Someone says research. Someone says landing page copy. Someone says offer. Someone says customer avatar. Someone says determine the customer needs. Think about who my target audience is. Eric, Scott, determine the objective. And Eric Scott, my man, that's $100 for you, player. Go ahead and email us at askbillygene@gmail.com and just say I'm the shit and I want $100 this morning, and Ashley will send that to you. Include your PayPal email address. She'll just send it to there. Looks like Jaime, you did that too. You just did it after Eric did it. And then Charles did too. He said, what's the goal for the customer? So you guys had it, but Eric, you just kind of beat everybody to it right there. So good stuff for you. And I thought an even simpler way to put that is just, what's the point of the campaign, right? you got to start backwards. What's the point of the campaign? Start backwards. And usually it sounds something like this. Number one, I want my phones to ring. Number two, I want my doors to swing. Number three, I want butts in seats. Or number four, or letter D, I want appointments in my residence. Now, that doesn't make any sense at all, but it rhymes. So when me and Alex were going over these slides this morning, just kind of put it in. But it's really just supposed to say you want appointments on your calendar. But it just didn't rhyme, so we didn't do it that way. So anyways, ignore that. But nonetheless, the objective for any campaign that you're running is almost always comes down to this. Or, of course, you just want them to purchase something, right? So between those 5 things is usually where you'll find your solution. Now, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive there. No matter what the objective is, profit is always the goal. Now, I say that aloud, and a lot of you are rolling your eyes like, of course, Billy, profit's the goal. But let me ask you this and be real. How many of you have ran a social media campaign or marketing campaign and profit wasn't really the goal? You made the conversation all about like the design or the website or a newsletter or signups or something like that. Let's be real. Like that's most of the time what we're doing. Honestly, sometimes because we're afraid of being able to deliver results, right? So we think that if we just shift the conversation to something else, then we'll be okay. But what that kind of pigeonholes you into is not being able to charge that much money, right? You can't really charge that much if all you're doing is, you know what I mean, newsletter signs. It's always got to come back to the profit of what you're actually doing. So how to achieve your goals. Here's the reality for everything is usually when you're running the campaign on Facebook, the finish line is going to be one of these 6 things, right? Number 1 is selling the product. Number 1 is selling the product. Number 2 is building an email list or following. Number 3 is scheduling appointments. Number 4 is prospecting, getting a name, email, and phone number. Number 5 is just getting the phone to ring. And number 6, which is only going to get bigger, is getting people to sign up for a webinar. How many of you have had webinar clients in here? I just want to kind of get an idea. Has people asked you like, hey, I'm running a webinar. I want to get into the webinar game. Has anybody had that before? I'm calling it now. I think over the next 2 years, yeah, Mike said, okay, I'm getting some yeses, got some nos. I think over the next 2 years, we're going to see the biggest lift there. So branding yourself as kind of the webinar person to help people create them is not a bad play, and I see a huge opportunity there. That's completely side note. All right. So when choosing an objective, you guys got to keep a few things in mind. Number 1, depending on which objective that you choose, the cost is going to change. The cost is going to change. Next is the sales process will change. And third is the type of content that you will need to change. So now let's get into some examples now that we've kind of set this framework, so to speak. Number 1, selling a physical product is going to cost more than a campaign to try and generate leads. Does anybody know why that is? Why? Why is selling a physical product going to cost you more, typically like 99% of the time, than just collecting someone's name, email, phone number, or some of their contact information? Why? Someone says awareness, cost of operations, hard to convince people to buy, need to create trust, money, people have to pull out a credit card. Exactly, all those fantastic answers. Well, people are more likely to enter their name than bring out their credit card. I mean, guys, think about it. For you guys to actually be comfortable enough to take out your credit card with someone, I mean, it's got to be a few things, right? Well, number 1 is they have to trust the product you're trying to sell, right? They have to believe in that. 2, they have to trust you. I think that comes actually as the first. And then 3, they got to be in a position to take out their credit card. And you guys have heard me talk about this multiple times. But when you guys are on your mobile devices, which is almost all your traffic, where it's coming from right now, where are you? Some of you are on a webinar with Billie Jean right now on your cell phones, typing stuff. Some of you are in the restroom. Probably a lot of you. That is where I'm always on my phone, right? And so again, when you're asking someone to take out their credit card, when they're walking around with their friends, they're out in the city, they're out to dinner, it's going to be not likely. Too many times when I'm doing consulting, people will come to me with a campaign and the objective does not match the sales process. And let me show you some actual tangible examples. All right. So here's some fun stats for you. How many of you here, and I show this example because you guys can relate to it, but how many of you have seen our flash drive if you don't own our flash drive? How many of you have seen our flash drive at least, or some of you own it, right? Okay, cool. Majority of people here, at least you are somewhat familiar with it, right? Some people haven't. Well, we sell a flash drive with a bunch of good content on it. You can buy it, right? And it's actually free, but plus shipping. So listen to the stats here. So we had 3,787 people opt in, meaning they filled out this form that you see on the right, okay? Name, email, phone number, the shipping address, country, zip code, etc. So they give us all this contact information to get their flash drive. However, as soon as the credit card comes out, what happened? Only 1,836 of those 3,787 people actually purchase it. Now the reality is I'm still paying for every single one of those clicks. So when they don't buy, that's just lost money for me, right? It's just lost money for me. Charles says, that's a lot of flash. Yeah, I think we sold more. I think that was just from a couple campaigns. But we like use it as our upsell on everything right now, and just people love it, and it works like crazy. So yeah, flash drive, all your stuff on a flash drive is pretty damn valuable. Note to everybody there. But nonetheless, the point of this, people, is I thought it was kind of cool to just actually show you guys real numbers, right? It's one thing to talk about it, but is that kind of helpful to actually show you how it affects your business? And this is also, too, when you guys are, selling anything online, and you guys should all write this down, but in almost every single case, unless you already have their contact information, you need to collect information from your potential customers so that you can follow up, because majority will not buy on their first interaction with you. And you hear it all the time, but look at this. If we didn't collect all of this information, we would have missed out on 2,000 leads. Is everybody getting that? So if we decided to skip this step and to only take buyers and just to put it all on one form, we would have missed out on 2,000 leads. Type yes if you see like how kind of a big deal that is, right? Am I alone there? I think that's a fun fact. Okay. And then Douglas says you follow up with them by offering a new gig. Doug, it's funny, man. Sometimes you follow up by offering them the same exact thing, because sometimes the timing was just off. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just catch someone in a different mood, and then you see it again at nighttime and they're actually building a campaign and those problems start to get to them. So sometimes just asking somebody at different times work. It's kind of like this. Hey guys, are you hungry right now? And some of you will say, yeah, and then if I bought breakfast for you, you'd eat it, right? Some of you are like, no, I just ate. If I ask you again in 4 hours, like, shit, I am hungry now. See what I'm saying? So just because someone says no one time doesn't mean you should completely just switch your offer, However, we continue to pound them with this for a little bit, and then we do switch up the offer. And we go to I forget what we go to. We got a couple different funnels out there, but nonetheless, those are the steps. Anybody have any questions about this before I continue? Yeah, Wilton says, I was creating a campaign that went directly into paying. I'm glad I'm watching this. There you go, man. I just saved you a bunch of money. Okay, cool. I think everyone's good. Anybody else see some type in there that you'd like me to address in regards to this campaign and kind of understanding the objective? Hold on there. There's like a fact on there that I wanted. Okay. Also, too, notice here, when we were selling these, I didn't even attempt to sell them without having video. Now, I want everyone to pay attention to this, because this is important, too, when you're creating any kind of Facebook ad, is what I understand is our positioning in the marketplace. I understand who we were targeting with this campaign. And when we were targeting a stranger, and this was the first time that they saw us, and they were like, hey, we're going to send you a flash drive. Well, here's the reality. If we're just a random company they haven't heard of, and they don't know, like, or trust us and haven't heard of us before, our flash drive doesn't mean shit. So to me, having a video showing us as real human beings as opposed to an image that anybody can pull off the internet, showing us actually opening up the box with flash drives in it, showing the team and seeing our personality, filming it in our office, what am I doing there? What am I really doing there? Why did I have a video on this? What am I really doing there? Yeah, like 10 people just said at the same time. It's trust, right? It's trust, people. And if you don't have it, people will not buy from you. So again, you're seeing in action what I was just telling you here is you need these three things. Where was it? Where's my slide, damn it? There it is. Gotcha. When choosing an objective, you have to be completely aware of this, or you'll never be able to create the correct Facebook ad that's going to get you the desired result. Okay? Now, let's get into this. Come on. Let's go. All right, rules of thumb. take notes. You guys should write these down really quick if you have a pen on you or if you have another window up, but this is important. And some of you have heard me say this before, but I think it's really good to go back through. So number one is the more expensive your product or your service is, the more time you'll need to spend with them. I'll say it again. The more expensive your product or service is, the more time you'll need to spend with them. How many of you have seen or are guilty of selling some expensive ass shit and just hoping you get enough clicks and crossing your fingers that someone's going to buy? Buy this new Kirby vacuum cleaner. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, or, you know, and just expecting people to take out their credit cards. Guys, I have some news for you. It's just not really going to happen, right? Like when you don't know a lot about Facebook advertising, this is how your brain works. Well, if I just get 100 clicks, I'm sure out of 100 clicks, somebody's going to buy. And let me tell you, that couldn't be further than the truth. That could not be further than the truth, period. So I want everybody to own that. So again, I mean, think about it. When everyone's buying real estate, right, how much time do you spend with your real estate agent, right? Then you got to go through escrow. The more expensive, the more time it is. When you go into a car dealership, right, that process, you sit there forever. You go through a credit application. You hang out. The car's got to get washed. You got to go through finance. You got to get your, you know, your title and registration, all that other shit, right? The more time you need to spend. However, let's go to an inexpensive purchase. Like when you go to the gas station and there's just nail clippers or something that you needed to pick up. You don't think twice about it, right? The same goes with online, period, okay? Next is the more time you need, the more expensive it is because it's expensive to hold people's attention. It's expensive to hold people's attention. However, and I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about here. But the give and take is if you don't hold people's attention, they don't spend enough time with you, they won't buy, right? Because they don't know who you are. You have no brand awareness, therefore there's no trust. So what you have to realize is in order to build trust, it costs a lot of fucking money. Write that down. To build trust when using paid advertisements costs a lot of money. Some people call it brand awareness. Realistically, it's just trust, okay? So I wonder if we have this in there. There's an example I wanted to show you guys from one of the campaigns that we had. Shit. Alex, you have it in here? The video? I don't know if we have it in here.
No, I didn't put it in.
Oh
No,
my God, Alex, you're fired.
No, okay, bye. Bye.
I'll give you guys a summary, but put it this way. We're running an ad right now to the coolest job ever. And what it is, it's a 7-minute video of me, you know, asking people to register for one of our webinars. Yeah, some of you have seen it, and if you haven't, it's no big deal. The bottom line is we're running an advertisement that has a 7-minute video in Facebook. Now, how many of you right now think that if there's a long video, you'll never watch it? Just type yes in the chat if you believe that. Hey, if there's a long video, no one's ever going to watch it. I see that all the time. And then people also say, hey, if it's long copy, it's never going to work, especially people who come over from traditional advertising, like billboards and magazines and stuff. It's long. I can't express to you guys enough. It's not true, period. It's not true. And you caring about the length of the video is you focusing on the wrong objective, right? So our goal here was ultimately to get people to buy our course. So I was okay with spending $10 for a registrant. However, on some of our other campaigns, it may only cost us $2 or $3 to get a lead. But the difference is the person who watched the 7-minute video is way more qualified. So to look at the cost per lead without taking into account the cost per sell is a mistake. And I see people letting the wrong metrics guide them along the journey of their Facebook campaigns. Does that make sense to everyone? You're looking at the wrong stats. You shouldn't be looking at the video views. You should be looking at, well, how much does it cost to get someone of quality to actually sign up? And then how much does it actually cost me to sell them something, right? But too many times people will be in the conversation. I get this all of the time, and I want to call you guys out right now if this is you. Is people will call me and they say, hey, Billy, I'm getting 1 cent video views right now. Is that good? And my answer to that is what? Hey, Billy, I got a cost per lead of 50 cents. Is that good? Everyone, what's my reaction to that? Yeah, it depends. It depends, right? Because if you're just getting leads but nobody's buying, who cares? If you're getting people to watch your video but no one's taking out their credit card, who cares? It doesn't matter. So let's stop playing games with ourselves. Now, having said that, obviously, if you're getting 1 cent a click of view, there's no other medium in the world where you can get that, right? So there is value to that, okay? But nonetheless, I just want everyone to recognize that it's just the wrong metrics, and I see that's where a lot of people go wrong in their Facebook ads campaign. Now, let's get a little bit more technical stuff, okay? Finding your ideal customer. And this is where I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys a bunch of screenshots of the different targeting techniques that you can do. All right. So very first thing that we did is we found out the objective. Like, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to sell? Right. And it has to do with profit. Now I want to say, all right, now who are we selling to? And to me, your audience is the person, and everyone should note this definition. It's the person who is most likely to buy your product or service. Okay? Because too many times you'll deal with customers, and we're guilty of it ourselves, and we just think to ourselves, damn, so many people can benefit from our product, I don't know who to advertise to. I get that all the time. But the reality is you advertise to the people who are likely to buy it. So a great case in point, take our customers in the yoga industry, okay? A lot of the times we'll be running with them and they say, well, don't we want to advertise to guys too? And the first thing I tell them is, well, how many guys actually come in there? And they're like, we're getting more popular. It's like 11%. Okay, I hate to say you, that's not your ideal customer. It's going to cost you 4 times as much, 3 times as much money to get them in, right? So again, when you guys are having a conversation with yourselves, with your customers, it's the person who's most likely. Can everyone just type yes in the chat if that makes sense to you? Most likely. Tell me you're with me. Own that fact, all right? And the next is how to find that. How else to find your ideal customers? Who is that person? Number one, the very first thing that you can do is look at who's been working with you or your clients for the last couple of years. Period. So actually just check, you pull up an Excel sheet or wherever your customers are and see who it is. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? How old are they? Right? That's how you find your perfect customer, because that's how your business has been. Or if your business is really unhealthy and you're not making money, do the same thing. Look at your customers and now well, shit, maybe I should stay away from these people. You know what I mean? But a lot of times the data will dictate to you what you should and shouldn't be doing. Okay? And then the other question to ask yourselves is, who benefits the most from your product or service? And what problems does your product or service solve for them? Okay? Now I'm going to get into some examples of all this and break it down, some kind of cool stuff that we can do. So your audience matters. And what I want to go through with you guys right now, what I want you to walk away with is really simplifying this whole Facebook ads thing, because I think too much we can get overwhelmed with all the tech and shit that's out there. And it doesn't have to be that, complicated. So the biggest things in making Facebook works, this is what I believe, is making the right offer to the right person. Making the right offer to the right person. So for example, in San Diego this past weekend, we had Comic-Con. Is everybody familiar with what Comic-Con is? Just type yes in the chat or no if you haven't heard of it. Anyways, I'll explain what it is. Comic-Con is basically when every freaking, quote unquote, hardcore gamer, fantasy person, comic book lovers, nerds, I hate that title, but you know what I mean? That's what I was there. That's what you do, right? Is you go to Comic-Con and they have every star from every show. I saw Will Smith there and just everybody you can ever imagine is freaking at Comic-Con, right? And all I could think about is all of the shit that they would buy. I mean, there was t-shirt, like that movie Suicide Squad that's coming out. I mean, the lines to get around these people, the t-shirts that they were buying, the outfits that they would wear, right? But then I was thinking is, here's 500,000 people at this Comic-Con and here's your perfect audience. But if you just go outside of the downtown area that everyone is, nobody would be interested in buying those kind of shirts or the t-shirts or the painting their face and all of those things, right? And again, my marketing brain was just thinking of damn, how many different products should I be selling at this event right now that I'm not taking advantage of, right? And then I was thinking well, shit, should we do some because it was down the street from our office. I was like, should we do some advertising, down there so we could really, take advantage of it? And I'm sure we could have came up with something, but here's the reality. My target audience, you guys, weren't at Comic-Con. How many of you came to Comic-Con this weekend? Nobody. You weren't there, right? So again, just recognizing your audience. So that was kind of a broad example, but it was just fresh on my tongue. But let's get into specifics here, all right? Best things you can do is stereotype. I'm going to say it again. You heard it right here. Billie Jean endorses stereotyping, right? For the sake of advertising, people. But it's true. It's true. That's the best way to find customers on Facebook, okay? So we got to figure out, a couple things. Are we talking to men or women? Stereotypically speaking, men are completely different than women, right? How many of you that are married right now to the opposite sex feel like you're speaking a completely different language than your wife or husband? Just type yes in the chat, right? How many of you feel, it's just apples and oranges, right? I definitely feel like that sometimes, my girl, right? So you got to keep that in mind. When you're creating an advertisement, you almost never, there are certain circumstances, but you should never advertise to men and women in the same group. That's kind of a rule of thumb we have within the agency. Every now and then we'll break it, but every now and then. Next is how old they are, right? How someone who's in their 50s is thinking with the family who's established that has a lot to lose is way different than your 21-year-old. Therefore, you cannot advertise to them and speak to them the same way, okay? Next is, what's their annual income, right? When someone's living in a scarcity state where they're thinking about where they're going to get their next paycheck from, the conversation is completely different than someone living in abundance, right? Who has disposable income. It changes the conversation. Next is where they live. I don't know where all of you live, but let's take your zip code. If you guys were to just go like 2 zip codes over, like 5-10 miles, and sometimes in different blocks, how different is it? I went to San Francisco. I used to go there a lot. I had some friends that lived there, but I'd never seen anything like it. But literally, you have this one area, I think it was called Tenderloin, which was super it was super hood. It was dangerous. It was all that stuff, right? And then, I'm not kidding, 2 or 3 blocks over, it was like the richest part of San Francisco. Giant house. It was 3 blocks that were keeping it different. However, I want you guys to keep this in mind. If you're advertising to people and you're not targeting by zip code, do you think you're probably increasing your chances to mess up? Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Because like, Billy, well, where's the Facebook advertising this? This is the Facebook advertising. It's understanding who you're speaking to, understanding your audience, right? Zip code matters, how much they make matters, their age matters, their gender matters, okay? Next is, what do they look like? No one wants to say like, oh, he's black, he's yellow, he's purple, he's green, he's brown. I'm sorry, it does make a difference. Traditionally speaking, right? Typically speaking. Now, should you act differently to someone? Because of that, absolutely not. But for the sake of marketing and finding stuff, guess what? There's certain shows and comedians that black people love that white people don't think are that funny, and vice versa, right? So again, like Dane Cook, he's not really has a huge black following, right? But then Chris Rock, like he does. So again, stereotyping is the best thing that you can do when it comes to Facebook, and I'll show you that in the next few slides when you see me targeting. Next is where they like to hang out, right? Where they like to hang out. So right now, if you guys could just type in the chat, if you had to find your perfect customer, where would they be in your city? Think about your business, whatever it is. If you had to find your perfect customer and you had to physically find them, where would they be hanging out? And just type it in right now. If you had to find your perfect customer physically in the same city as you, where would they be hanging out? So Mike brings up a good point. He says in churches, right? Someone says in networking events, at the bar for lunch. Okay, now Janice, let's go a step deeper there. Which bars would they be at? So again, I know San Diego, right? Because that's my hometown. But literally, I can tell how somebody is by the bar they go to. Oh, that person's a hipster. Oh, that person's a club person. That person's a dive bar. That person's a sports bar. But do you guys see what happened right there? It's the next layer. It wasn't enough to say at the bar for lunch, because Janice, look how many different people we could have spoken to if we just targeted bars. But now you're talking about sports bars, and we can actually have a conversation with someone because there's that instant rapport, right? Someone says on James River Road, right? They're on a specific street, like you know that type of person, you know. There you go, John. We have a place called Brew. Every business person is there for lunch. Exactly. So now you guys are starting to think. It's always a layer deeper, okay? So let's continue with that, and I'll show you why here in a second. Next is their interest, which you'll see me go through. Groups and organizations is huge too. Let me actually chime on that before I continue on. A lot of the times when you're trying to find professionals in any industry, one way that I've seen be easiest to find that is by targeting their association. Right, so if you're looking for attorneys, there's some kind of association for attorneys. If you're looking for a doctor, there's some kind of national association for doctors. There's med schools that they're a part of that they may have went to. You can target all those things on Facebook. So don't let that slip. Organization is a great way to find your target audience. Okay. Now continuing on, audience insights. How many of you have used audience insights on Facebook before? Just give me a yeah, let me get a feel for here. Tell me no if you haven't. Cool. Got some no's. All right, it's fantastic, all right? So let me show you guys. Now we're going to get into some Facebook shit, right? So audience insights is perfect for this. So do you guys remember a couple minutes ago when I told you the best way to kind of find out who your customer is to take your database of people and look through it? You guys remember that? Yeah, just give me if you're with me still. Okay, so what Facebook has allowed you to do is they've taken a step further, is you can take all of your data, your customer list, and you can upload to Facebook, and then you can say, hey, Facebook, tell me who is a part of this group. How about that? So you can learn things about your audience like, hey, I just realized that, damn, 70% of our customers are men. This is pretty crazy. Okay, and this whole time, we've been running all these promotions for, Mother's Day, et cetera, or whatever, and, we could have changed the messaging to this. But really understanding who you're speaking to will change everything. Oh, wow, we also noticed that most people that work with us are between the ages of 35 to 54. Huh, so maybe all these Pokemon Go signage that we have in our store, maybe we shouldn't have that anymore. Well, interesting. Huh. And maybe all the talk about Social Security that we do in our ads, maybe we should stop doing that too, because there's almost no one between 55, 64, 65 that rocks with us. And there's definitely no women that do. So everyone see the power of this or where I'm going with this? And you know how long this takes you guys to do? 3 minutes, maybe 5, 10 if you're really deep diving, 20 if you're just a freaking superstar, okay? Here's another thing, education level. Whoa! 80% of our freaking demographic, 80% went to college. How about that? Do you guys think that would change the conversation a little bit? Anybody? Just type yes if you realize, if you make an insight like that, holy shit, my audience is 80% college. Well, here's the cool thing, is within Facebook, now when you're advertising, you know that every ad you should do, check the box that says college next to it. It's going to increase your chances of finding the people who actually want to buy your stuff. And again, that was simple insight. So what you guys would do with this is you would look at this data and say, okay, now watch how this works. You would say, all right, someone give me a business of, give me a product or service that you're selling so I can actually do this in real time and paint a real picture for you guys. But somebody give me a product and service that you're selling right now. You just type it in. Okay, someone says a baseball glove, right? Someone says shoes. Someone says ticket to seminar. Someone says a bartending a course. All right. So let's take bartending course. There's a lot. You guys put out some cool stuff. But let's just take bartending course. Okay. So I'm trying to obviously find bartenders, right? And then I look at this data and I realize, okay, everybody who's already a part of our list or interested in that is okay. Well, it looks like they're mostly men. So when I'm creating my new ad for bartender courses, I would say, okay, I'm only going to advertise to men, because remember, people, we're finding the people who are most likely, right? Most likely. It doesn't mean women can't buy my course. It just means it's not going to be the cheapest way to get it done and most effective. So for your targeting, Wilton, for your bartending course, if this was your data, I would say, okay, only advertise to men who have college degrees. Super simple, right? But if you did that, Wilton, just by having a little experiment, your cost per lead and cost per sell and your engagement on your ads would be fantabulous. I don't even know if that's a word. I think I made that shit up. Fantabulous it would be, right? So again, you guys all have the power to do this. Does that make sense to everyone? Are you guys with me here? Right? Like when we first did this for our audience, I mean, this is the data that we found out. You know, like, again, we didn't realize how many people. So I don't know if Rena's doing this from our buyers list or what she's doing this for. I think she just did a sample. So I'm not really 100% sure what this is, but it did look similar to when we did it together. But again, we found out that 80% of our audience were freaking college grads. We had no idea. We had no idea, right? And then once we put that into our filters and our campaigns, our cost per lead went down in almost half. Think about that. When we're spending 50, 100 grand a month on certain campaigns, that means it saves us a lot of money. Like, you guys see how huge and powerful this stuff is. And again, what did it really take? 2 seconds to just go in here? You know? And Erwin says, do you have to run the ad before you can do the research? Well, Erwin, you may already have a list. If you already have a list, then you're perfectly cool. You know? Jason says, so you're working with some of the best drinkers in the country. That's right, man. Also, too, more data. What else does it tell you? If they're in a relationship, right? So we found out that 50% of the people are married. Wow. So a college grad who's married, that's between the ages of 35 to 55, interesting. We could be onto something here, right? How many of you actually fit that demo? How many of you fit that demographic in here? Right? And we have multiple campaigns with different people, but it's funny. I'm seeing a lot of yeses in the chat right now, right? Well, guys, there you go. It's probably as a result of us like changing our targeting to those things, you know? So anyways, it's a trip to kind of see it all in real life. And then they give you other shit, right? Like, you know, household income, you know, 50 to 75,000. That's cool to know. You know, do they own a home? Well, 72% are homeowners. You know, household size. Okay, they got 1, 2. You can see that there. Home market value. Okay, cool. They got this. I mean, guys, like, is this like this isn't to me? This is still shot. I've seen this forever, and this is still insane to me that you can do this. I mean, this is insane, right? Is anybody like wowed by that besides me? I mean, maybe I'm just a geek, but like to just upload some shit and be able to tell all of this. Talk about being able to hone your marketing message. Okay. So anyways, that's audience insights. And then also too, you'll see the devices that people are using. And where this is powerful, guys and girls, here, as I want everyone to know, this is powerful because when you're testing your campaigns and you're looking at your ads, your landing pages, etc., pick up that phone. Like, let's say it says iPad, it's only 5%, right? But let's imagine iPad was like 70%. Well, when you're looking at your ads, then you want to look and see how it looks on the damn iPad. Does that make sense to everyone? So here we are, like usually when we create an ad, we'll look at it on our computer, right? And we'll look at a computer and we'll expect that to be like how the customer's going to see it. But the reality is most of your traffic comes from mobile devices. So why do we keep testing it on desktop computers? It's silly, right? But we do it anyway. So anyways, before I continue off audience insights, any questions? And is this helpful to go through with you guys? Actually kind of pulling this up and breaking it down. Right? Okay, good. Any other questions you'd like me to answer here? Good, nope. Perfect. Okay, cool. Let's continue on. Another great way to learn more about your customer is to stalk them. Guys, we're on Facebook. As much as everybody says, oh my God, I want privacy, oh no, don't look at my stuff, no. But then they're posting every day on Facebook and Instagram, like, and checking in every fucking where they go. Don't look at me, no, oh my God, I can't believe they broke my privacy, no. Shut up. Everyone has all their shit so public. Let's look at a couple, right? So here's Justin. You guys know Justin. A lot of you spoke to him on the phone. But we can see his likes, right? So we can see that he likes Monster Craft's food truck. Okay, he likes JoJo, the singer, all right. You know, and you can kind of get a feel for him, right? So you can actually see right here exactly what he's looking for. The Lamplighter, that's a bar here in San Diego. Okay, so he's an alcoholic. That's good. Maybe I need to have a conversation with him, right? But again, guys, like never before in the world has it been so easy to learn about your customer. You don't have to guess, right? You can see, you can click change categories. You can see the restaurants he goes to. You can change categories. You can see the music he listens to. So can I give you guys an exercise? I think after this, you guys should look on your list of previous customers or people you know, even people you want to work with, and just go stalk them. Go look at their likes. Can everyone do that? I mean, it's public information, like really public. Like they have it up there, You know? Yeah, Joe said big in real estate. Sure, right? Or just imagine like if there's a decision maker and you find them on Facebook and then you see their likes and everything that they have is Justin Bieber. And then you mail them a ticket to the Justin Bieber concert. Do you think that's probably a pretty good play to get in front of them? You guys see where I'm going with this? Again, it's using data but then strategically implementing it, right, to make you money. Now let's continue on. There's a tool called Graph Search. Lets you search for similar pages of likes of interest. You can also see your competitors and what they're saying about them. Okay, let's continue on. Graph Search. Graph Search is literally just referring to the search bar on Facebook, but it's got like a gazillion commands to it. I know we have a sheet out there for it, Alex, if you can just get that in the gene pool too. But there's so many different things you can do with there. But for example, if you think your followers all like the Food Network, right? And they watch the Food Network religiously. Well, you can go into Facebook and say pages similar to Food Network. And all of a sudden we got Lifetime Network, Tastemade, Cooking Channel, Up TV, Asian Food Channel, Food Network UK. So you literally just hit up another groups and some of them have 18 million likes, 2 million likes, 2 million views. And again, everything I'm showing you guys, this doesn't take any more than 3 to 5 minutes to do. I think I rounded up, like 30 seconds to do, to find out that much about your audience. So now you know who to advertise to. Give me a yes before I continue. Just let me know. Do you guys have any other questions or are you rocking with me so far? Simple things, just simple tactics that make all the difference in your marketing, okay? Continuing on. Now, once you gather that information and we answer all those questions that I just showed you guys, now you can put it into Facebook, all right? And then you can say here, include people who match at least one of the following. And then they could use, people who are into dog products or people who are likely to move or people who are college grads, right? You can choose one of those things. And again, all we're doing is leveraging the data that took us 15 minutes to find out. And we literally just plug it into Facebook. Like, they can't make it much easier than that. And then you can also do and targeting, which is huge. So I only want to advertise the people that are making 100 grand plus. In addition to that, they're also college grads and targeting who are admins of their Facebook fan page. I mean, that's pretty powerful, right? Like, imagine that. They make this amount of money, they went to college, and they're the admin of their fan pages, and they're part of this association, and they like the Food Network, and they like Tony Robbins, and they like, Doug and Patty Mayonnaise and all that. Powerful shit. And what I'm showing you guys here is not some crazy, like everyone talks about Facebook, and they're like, I can never keep up with the algorithm change. Does anyone fucking see an algorithm in this? Or is this just really matching the right offer to the right person? Does anything I'm teaching you guys have anything to do, well, if I tweak the algorithm and I do this, like, stop it. Stop overcomplicating it. Simplify it. Just make the right offer to the right person. That's it. And there's all the tools to do it. But notice this training isn't about manipulating Facebook in a black hat way. It's just actually giving people what they want. Fair enough? Can everyone just type, give people what they want? There's the big takeaway from today. Continuing on. People who like your page, right? And they're friends. So the benefit of doing something like that is when they see your advertisements, it'll also show their friends who like your page too, right? So automatically there's that built-in social proof. So that's huge, continuing on. TV shows, man, I'm telling you something. If there's any way to find your ideal market, I truly believe TV shows is probably one of the most powerful techniques out there. How many of you watch Game of Thrones? And how many of you watch Shark Tank? How many of you in here watch Shark Tank? Right? Yeah, everyone loves, you guys are entrepreneurs, we're in here. Everyone loves Shark Tank. There's not many of us in here that don't watch Shark Tank, right? Or Dragon's Den, which is the Canadian version. It came off of The Prophet's, another fantastic one, right? But again, using the power of television. So if I want to advertise to entrepreneurs, right, and I want to get in front of business owners, do you guys think Shark Tank's probably a pretty good place to start? Those are our biggest habits, is watching our shows. If I want to get in, front of teenage girls, do you think Vampire Diaries or Twilight series would be a pretty good place to start? If I want to get in front of foodies, people who really care, do you think Guy Ferrari, whatever the hell the guy's name is in the Food Network, is a pretty good place to start? if I want to get into people who really want to get in shape, do you think The Biggest Loser may be a pretty cool targeting campaign to do, right? And we actually did that. We targeted Biggest Loser for some weight loss stuff we were doing years ago. We made a bunch of money doing it. But nonetheless, just kind of giving you guys categories here. All right, anybody have any questions before I continue? Good? Perfect. Let me know. Just stop me if I'm going too fast. All right, let's rock. Next is creating a lookalike audience. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a strategy with Facebook targeting. That works really, really well for us, but I want to paint like a bigger picture for you. So the goal, actually, let me preface it with a question. How many of you have ran a campaign, got good results, but then it went away forever, and you just couldn't get them back? It worked for a little bit, but didn't work for a long time. How many of you can relate to that? Let me know right now. Okay. So what happens is when you're running an advertisement on Facebook, and let's say your audience is small, like 10, 20,000 people, well, guess what? You're going to burn through those people pretty quickly. In less than a week, they're all going to see your messages and they're going to get used to it. So the idea with Facebook is to create predictable campaigns for your business. Part of that is having campaigns that can last for a very long time. To make a campaign last for a very long time, you want to target as many people as possible while still getting your desired result. I'm going to say it again. You want to target as many people as possible while still getting your desired result, right? So for example, our favorite things to target are lookalike audiences. How many of you are familiar with lookalike audiences? And I'll explain to you what they are right now. If not, so don't feel silly or anything. Some of you are really advanced in here. You know what a lookalike audience is. Some of you are getting new. So I'll explain it. Basically, what Facebook allows you to do is upload data to Facebook. So for example, I can take a list of everyone who bought those flash drives, for example, that you guys saw earlier, and then I say, Facebook, find us more people who have the same interest as the people who bought this flash drive. Not only that, find me people who are in the same age range and, been to college just like these people have. So that's what you can create. Now, when you create those lookalike audiences, Facebook will give you an audience of at least 1 million people. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So when they're giving you an audience of at least 1 million people, now all of a sudden, instead of just targeting like this little small micro group, I have a giant list. And now I could run my campaigns for a very, very long time. Is everybody feeling me on that? Does that make sense to you what happens there? We like lookalike audiences for longevity, right? They're never the cheapest. It's never the cheapest cost per lead, but it's consistent. And once you get it, it can run for a long ass time. So when you win with the lookalike audience, you can win, major money. That's what we're using a lot right now for the Coolest Job Ever campaign. Joe says, do you spread out your marketing campaigns by audience type instead of all at the same time? 100%. Each ad set has its own audience, so we can see what's performing better. Okay? So lookalike audience. Now, you can do it a couple ways, and Rena did this picture for us, but it shows you. You can choose on a scale of 1 to 10 of how specific you want them to be. Okay? And so, if you're really specific, it'll be a smaller audience. If you're less, it'll be, really broad, whatever it may be. Okay? Now, once you create that, then all you have to do is just type it in within Facebook. Like when you're going and creating your ad, just literally type in your lookalike all buyers, right? And put it in. And then you can exclude people too, right? So we can exclude people who are in the gene pool. So for example, we wouldn't want to keep showing you guys advertisers of the gene pool if you're in here. So when we create an ad, we can just say, let's not show them. Or people who bought our course, clicks into customers, or people who are in camp. If they've already seen this, we don't want to keep hitting them with it. Or do we? So that they comment and give us social proof. It depends on what our objectives are, right? So anyways, those are the options that you have, okay? Rob says, can you exclude fans and friends? Yeah, you can, Rob. So locations, everyone in the location, people in the location, people who recently visited the location, that's all pretty straightforward, right? Continuing on. Okay, so this is where we do a lot of damage here too, is creating audiences off of our videos. If you guys aren't using this for your clients, for yourselves, you're making a big mistake, right? So If someone watches even 3% of your video, you can retarget them, but most of the time we like people to get to at least 50%. If someone watches half of our video, then we can show them more ads in the future, and they're way more likely to opt in, buy our stuff, etc., because now there's trust that's been built. So retargeting people off of video views has been one of our biggest revenue bringer in for this last quarter, is doing that. So if you guys see on Facebook and Instagram and all that, you guys probably have all seen some of our video ads, at least we try to, so that we can pixel you and advertise to you at a later time. You can even create a lookalike audience based off of the people who watch your video. You know, so I could say, hey, Facebook, for everyone who watched 95% of this video, find me more people who look like this. Is that pretty damn cool? Right? And even for those of you guys who knew stuff, you probably haven't realized and put two of these things, you know, 2 and 2 together here. Like, this is some pretty cool shit. Anybody have any questions here? Cool? Just give me a no, I'm good, or yeah, I'm ready to go, Billy. I know some of you are writing longer questions that take a little bit longer to type. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is the engagement option, James. Cool. And then also, too, really fast, another audience that we go through a lot is our website traffic. So if anybody comes to our website, retargeting them is almost always the most inexpensive leads because there's trust. They've been to your site. They know who you are. Okay, sure. YC asked a question, said, hey, Billy, can you explain the social comments that go out before you make your ad active? Well, what we'll do is once we create an ad, and we may have it off then, but once you create an ad, a unique link is also created. So something that we do from time, and if you're on our email list, you may have seen this, is if we have a new ad, we'll send an email out and we'll ask people on our audience to comment and leave feedback on it. So, hey, we just created a new ad. Will you guys comment? Why? Because then when we actually turn the ad on and it's going, it already looks popping. A bunch of people liked it, shared it, commented, and we have positive feedback because the people who reviewed it already know, like, and trust us. Does that make sense for everybody? Simple tactic, goes far. Even do it with your friends and family. Just have them comment, you know. That goes far. Good question, YC. Okay, so that goes over the targeting. So once you find an ideal customer, it's time to create an offer they can't refuse. And again, I'm showing you guys the 3 steps today, right, to just really simplify all of this, okay? Number 1 was to figure out what the hell you're doing, right? Are you trying to sell people? And if you are, how are you trying to do it? On the phone, in person, or through a webinar? That's simple. Then after that, you ask yourself, well, who am I trying to sell? And you get super specific, and then you find all of their interests by stalking them and doing all those techniques that I showed you, and then you just plug them into Facebook. And then after you do those 2 steps, the next thing is you make them a freaking offer that they can't refuse. So what does that mean, Billy? How do I make someone an offer they can't refuse? Well, make sure it's something that they give a shit about. And let me talk about that in more depth. A hot fire offer, as we say in the office. By the way, everyone, if you guys notice up above, look at Alex's typo. Has anybody ever heard of an offered? Anybody? Just let me know.
It's going fast.
Offered. So if you make a really good offer, here's what it does. It makes your client happiness. It makes them feel happiness, right? Remember, if you guys have been with us for a while, you know that the only thing that you sell are feelings. It's the only thing people actually buy, okay? Feelings, desires, etc. But then the third thing that makes it really easy to do is just to solve a problem for them, right? So every exercise that you guys should do, like you guys should all have this in your business. If you don't, do this immediately after this call. Pull out an Excel sheet, take each product that you offer, service that you offer, and then write down exactly what it solves and for who. Can you guys do that? Just take out a freaking Excel sheet, take 15 minutes, take out every product or service that you have. Okay? And then just say exactly what problems it solves for these people. That's it. Because then you can make fireball offers like this. Who remembers the damn Snuggie? Some of you may be wearing one right now, right? But the reason why it did so good is, one, that they had great marketing and advertising was cute, but bigger than that, it solved the greatest problem of all. You're freaking freezing your butt off, you're on the couch, but your arms are trapped and you don't want to move your arms because then you get cold again, and then you're cold and it resets the process, so now you don't want to do anything. And what did? They made a blanket with arms. They solved a problem. They solved a problem. Janice said she got one as a gift. I think I just had to buy the whole team Snuggies after this slide. But literally, it solved a problem. And their advertising for their infomercial was really simple. All they did was show different things that you can do when you actually have arms on your blanket. So one was reading down a book. One was playing video games. One was holding a baby. And they just showed the practical uses of how if you have one of these are the problems it's going to solve for you. So again, we get so complicated with our marketing and we try and get so cute and creative. Keep it freaking simple. Solve a problem and move on. When you can solve a problem, nothing's going to create desire like that. Period. Okay? So this is our team, and they all got to go and order their own Snuggies. So that's what they did, is they chose the one that they did. And now that I've actually said this, I actually have to buy these. Good job, Alex. And so that's it. But the reason why we got Snuggies is because I love the air conditioner on wherever I go. I hate being hot. So that is why we ultimately decided to do it. And what happened? Snuggie solved a problem for us, right? They need, obviously, their hands because we're on laptops all day. We can't do that with regular blankets. So a Snuggie brings warmth. It allows me to still have the AC on and allows them to keep working. They solved a problem. So if you're having a trouble making an offer to your customer, simply ask yourself, what problems can you solve? And then do it. And that is Facebook advertising simplified, my friends. Boom. Q&A. Right? So super straightforward. And next week we'll go into like hardcore building campaigns and targeting and some other things. But overall, that is it. Right? Figuring out what the hell you're trying to do, finding out who the hell you want to do it for, and making them a cool offer. That is Facebook advertising, and it has nothing to do with Facebook. Facebook just gives us great tools to be able to accomplish it. Okay? So what I get all the time is people say, Billy, does Facebook actually work for my business? Is my customer really on Facebook? I'm like, dude, there's fucking 1.5 billion people on Facebook. Yes, your customer's on there. Think of Facebook as nothing more than a billboard to get the attention of the people you care about. Erwin, yeah, the webinars are always up within 24 hours, at least most of the time. So yeah, it'll be up there. Siobhan, do you put Facebook Pixel on your website to be able to retarget visitors? Yeah, 100%. That's huge. That's the first thing that everybody should do when they get a website. Anybody else got anything I can answer for you? And for those of you who are coming to our camp call, dope. Look forward to seeing you. For those of you who are not in camp, that's okay. Qzx900customers.com. Use passcode BOSS. Get in. Let's see. This would be a good lead magnet for Qzx900 customers, Charles says. Yeah, it would be, man. Maybe we'll repurpose it for camp or something. Yeah, we'll think of something, man. We'll think of something. That's what's funny. As we've been doing these calls and Gene Pool, I'm like, damn, we can repurpose so much of this stuff, so much of this content. So that's what we're trying to play around with right now. Can you tell me again about the social comment for that earlier? Yeah, James, in summary, I just like people to comment on my post before we really start showing it to other people, so there's already social proof. Cheyenne, what's up? I will see you in an hour. Let's see, I'm selling tickets to a personal growth seminar in San Diego that focuses on health, relationships, and finances. Any suggestions on targeting? Yes, man, this is great. I want everybody, if you're still here right now, most of you are, almost all of you are. This is great. I love this question. I'm selling tickets to a personal growth seminar in San Diego that focuses on health, relationships, and finances. Any suggestions on targeting? Does anyone know what I'm going to say before I say it right now? Does anybody know what I'm going to say before I say it? And then I will say it. Anyone? Okay. Someone said Facebook for business. Someone says, what's the objective, right? We said objective. The objective is to sell tickets, right? So we do know that one. Yeah, TV got it. Pick one. It's exactly right. TV got it. Pick one. Period. Here's the thing. Someone who is suffering from bad health does not necessarily have a bad relationship and does not necessarily have finances. You're talking about 3 individual problems. So what you need to do is to create 3 different advertisements, because how you speak to someone about getting in shape has nothing to do with how you talk to them about with relationships. Or maybe it does, but for the common consumer, they don't relate the two the same or the three the same, right? So 100%, you got 3 ads there, and then you should build a list for each one to identify what people care about. And then I would ask myself, what problems are people with who desire, better health facing? What problems are people in shitty relationships facing? What problems are people who are struggling with finances facing? And then offer them a solution for that, give them a taste, and then say, well, if you'd like more, then come to the event. And because they don't know you, you're going to have to build trust. So I recommend doing that in the form of video and bringing some personality to it. But that is what you need to do. And then you can target people who are very similar to that, like your Tony Robbins. And then I would type in Facebook graph search pages like Tony Robbins, and I would advertise to them too. Boom. And then depending on the price and how much money the thing costs you, I would target zip codes based on that. Boom. See, guys, it's just knowing the shit and plugging and playing. You know what I mean? Cool. Arlene says, where do you find the link to send it to before it goes live? It's the demo link. So if you're in your ads manager and you're previewing your campaign and then you view it in desktop, you send them that link. Email us later, Arlene, if it's confusing for you. That makes sense. Mike says free webinar. Sure, free webinar could work for that. You just got to build a webinar now, right now. So now you guys see what I'm talking about. Based on the objective, you see what creative needs to go into it. Now you know, like, holy shit, I need to do a free webinar. That takes a lot of time, effort, and strategy, and there's so much that goes into it. So now you're seeing a lot of this stuff isn't that easy. You guys feel me? Teddy says, do you suggest going straight to sell with a video sales letter or go to the lead first? I sell personal training. If you're on video and you're good, you got to get a lead first. Most people, especially in that competitive industry, Teddy, you're going to need to collect them and continue to follow up with them. You should, Teddy, your best asset, have 50 videos and send follow-up emails all the time to them and ask them to keep coming. So I definitely recommend building up a list. That's your business right there. That list is your livelihood. That's your blood force. Let's see. I'm opening a local optical store in Alabama that sells eyeglasses and eye appointments. We've done offer claims campaign, but of course, because no one's calling to make appointments, client thinks it's a sham. Any suggestions on copy or anything else? Well, one thing I would do more than anything, Parshell, is make them call the leads. So they know it's not a sham. They know what it is. So when you have a lead, make them follow up and make sure that process is there to do that. That's my best suggestion, because if you start going into only trying to generate phone calls for them, that's going to be expensive and probably won't be that profitable for them, So it's not really the ad copy or anything there. It's more them recognizing that it works and getting people in front of them. James. So James says, when selling a product, is it better to give a coupon or sell directly with a discount? Depends, James. Totally depends on what the relationship is like with the audience who you're selling to, and does their trust need to be built up? People won't just sell direct. They won't just buy directly unless they know you. How good is their relationship with the audience, right? Matt says, how do you increase your ad account limit in Business Manager? You ask Facebook and keep asking them. Parshell says, they're old school. They want their phones to ring. You educate them. Hey, we can make your phone ring. It's just going to be expensive as hell and probably won't be profitable. So if you want this to work, this is what you need to do. And if you aren't willing to do that, that's totally cool. But I'm going to go to another client who is. That's the reality. This is the thing with business owners. Whenever you're advertising to business owners, most businesses fail because their business owners aren't willing to do what it takes to succeed. So the ones that really want to succeed will do that, Parshell. And if they're not, later. Any suggestions to find an audience for photocopiers? My first question is, who needs a photocopier? That's what I would answer. And I would ask I would ask your audience, who's their best customers in the past? That's what I would do. Trying to sell tickets to my live country music show. Should I start ads to get leads or go with ads? Well, is it going to be a show that happens every year? Is that an asset that you can go back to next year? Because most festival visitors are returning guests. So if that's the case, then I would really, that's important to them and they'll see the value in that. Got Got to discuss it with the client though. Yeah, a lot of it, guys, a lot of it's taking control of the client. You know, when you guys say, oh, the client doesn't want to do this, it just means they're more confident than you are. That's what's happening. Let's see. I got a campaign on a mobile with a 6.7% CTR, 4% 6 on desktop. Should I turn off the desktop? Philippe, the first thing I would say is, what is your objective? Are you selling? What's your cost per sale or what's your cost per lead? Click-through rates, those are great for both. I wouldn't turn either of them off. However, I don't know that because it totally depends. You know, it totally depends on what the objective is. But that's a great example of like what we're covering today. I'm glad you asked that. Jimmy says, I love you, Billy. You're the truth. I love you. You're the truth. Let's see. Oh, shit. Hold on. Damn it. It keeps going away. You guys are all typing at the same time. We started a video blog studio. Come and shoot if we edit it and upload to our web properties in 24 hours. I have a couple ads running, one at car dealers and one at real estate agents. 87 cents a click for dealers, 130 for real estate, no leads. That's what I'm talking about, John. I like that. Now, you guys see why I don't care about the clicks or anything like that. When my team comes to me and they have a question, we never discuss cost per click or anything else. It's irrelevant. If someone tells me what their cost per lead is, I know they have a high CTR and low cost per click. That's what happens. It's a package deal. So if there's no leads, that means your offer sucks. And if you've had already like 130 clicks, you got to change your offer. Nobody really cares about your offer. That's what it is. Rob, if I'm selling cool sculpting special offer to a lookalike audience, what if a competitor posts on your ad in the comment section to try to show they have a better offer? I hit their comment. Rob, you did exactly right. Just hide their comment and move forward. What do you suggest as a lead offer for a gym? Depends on the gym. You know, if they have brand awareness or whatever. But obviously with the gym, because there's so many, the only thing that really can separate you is the experience that they have when they come in. So everything that you do, Teddy, should be around them getting in the door. Because if not, you're just like every other gym in the world. Even though gyms are like, and I've dealt with so many, they're just so funny to me because gyms swear that, well, those guys suck because they don't do this. And everyone, you know, fitness is, everyone thinks they have their best way. The reality is with the customers, until they come in and experience, none of that means anything to them. So for gyms, there should be nothing more important to you than getting people in the door. And whatever you have to do to get that done, that's how you should lead them in. You got to earn that business because it's competitive. Any competitive business, you got to earn. You know, Teddy, it's the same reason why I do webinars to sell people shit. I got to earn people's trust. It's the same reason why as a gene pool right now, we have a trial. They got to come hang out with me and see if I'm the real deal, if it's worth their time. I'm all about earning that business, you know. That's how you build a sustainable one anyway, right? Well, cool. For you guys, yeah, no doubt. So for you new people here, what's up? Welcome to the Gene Pool. I'll see you next week. And then for you campers that are in here, I'll see you in a little bit, which means I have a meeting right now at 10:15 to 10:40, and then I'll be on with you guys. All right? So talk to y'all later. Thanks for being here. Peace, love, and chicken grease. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, sign up for camp if you're not in with us. Later, skater. Alex, I hate you.